Manchester United had a bad game against Newcastle United, and we're here to talk about it. We are here to talk about it because the game didn't go good at all. It didn't go good at all. All right, so tough times for Manchester United, but all we can do is move on with it. We got to move on with it. We knew that this day was going to come one way or another. There is no other way, guys, because you can't tell me that you thought Manchester United were going to go through and through throughout the rest of the season without losing a game. So it happened. We lost to Newcastle United. We played bad, and there's nothing that we can take back from it. Game's over. So I'm going to put my Q&A for today for Manchester United versus Newcastle. So let's go with how do you rate Man United versus Newcastle? How do you rate Man United versus Newcastle United? Okay, there we go. And that's the Q&A. I'll tell you about my rating now. And honestly, it wasn't the best. It wasn't the best of ratings because we were very disappointing with it. We didn't bring up any attitude. We didn't bring up that flair. I didn't recognize these players against Newcastle United, and it showed. It showed a lot, especially with Newcastle United going down a man, and Manchester United not being able to take advantage of it. I've seen it a lot with this football club, and we just couldn't do it today or yesterday. Manchester United couldn't capitalize on it, and it was coming. It was coming, and a lot of you will say that no, the reason why we managed to win the other previous games when we were in this sort of situation is because we were lucky. Maybe that's the case. Maybe that's the truth. Manchester United were lucky during the other times where we managed to win games where we had a man up. Like against Crystal Palace. You could say we were lucky to win the game, and there were more teams that we had a man up on in advantage. So it wasn't the case against Newcastle United, and we didn't escape this time around. We lost. So just another way for Manchester United. Um, Gamio says hi, dude. Just you and me, bro. Um, big ups, big ups. Welcome to the channel, guys. And we're chatting Manchester United post defeat to Newcastle United, and what a frustrating game that was for Manchester United. Like I said, if we don't win this game, it's not going to be always rosy with Manchester United. We're going to be suffering some defeats as well along the road. There's no way we can go 100%, you know, 100% without suffering any setbacks here, and it happened now. So what a run from Michael Carrick. Um, Game off says I'm from Turkey, so I'm bad at speaking English. Welcome to the channel, guys. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that sub button, hit that subscribe button. Let's grow the community together. And yeah, I'm pretty much gutted on that defeat to Newcastle United. But I also want to speak about Michael Carrick's post-match press conference as well on that 2-1 defeat, and it was an opportunity to go to gain more points than the likes of Liverpool, the likes of Aston Villa, but we didn't get to it. We didn't take that opportunity to go 6 points above the likes of Liverpool, the likes of Chelsea as well. So we couldn't extend our points there, and we stay at third now. So we have to do better next time we play against Aston Villa. It's going to be interesting playing Aston Villa. They've also been on a bumpy run. They've just lost to Chelsea as well. Thank goodness Chelsea were able to beat Aston Villa to just slow them down a bit. But yes, next match is going to be crucial. Even though it's such a long time until we play another game of football. The Geordie F1 guy says, "How are you today, mate? I'm not too good. That loss is not sitting well with me. So big ups to Newcastle United. They played well, especially with a man down. Takes a lot of character, a lot of resilience, and it was annoying. But big ups to you guys. Big ups to William Osula. What a stunning goal that was. And yeah, you guys should be taking all the credits. We got Chat of Africa there saying 6. It was a good game, to be honest. You've got to give them credit. They tried their best. Well, yeah, like I've been saying, it was just one way or another. It's one of those games, individual brilliance, and we saw that with the youngster. He's only 22 years of age. Wow. And he used to play for Manchester United, when he was 11, and that's about 12 years ago. So it's actually crazy. Some things weren't meant to be. But we move on from here. Like I said, it's just another wake up call. But yeah, what a honeymoon it was, man. We were just winning and winning. How many games was that? We were going 12 games unbeaten. 12 games, bro. And the last time we lost was during Boxing Day, and that was against Newcastle United. So we go a long way back. Guys, if you just joined the channel, please don't forget to hit that like button, that subscribe button. Let's grow the community together. Chat of Africa says, what do you think about the fact that we actually had the chances? We had more chances, we had more position, we had more corners, we had more fouls. So that's the thing. That's the thing. Michael Carrick needed to change gear. He needed to know how to do some in-game, tactics. Some in-game substitutions there that could have worked out for us. But the fact that we brought in Malasia, that I feel like just dismantled everything out there. For that goal for against Osula, like what was he doing? He had his back towards um the attacker. Like, how do you do that? You don't do that. You don't do that, Malasha. I don't know where in the world he came from. I don't know what sort of trust Michael Carrick had on bringing Tyrell Malasia. Crazy, very crazy. So he should have just never came on the pitch. That's what I think. But yes, it was unfortunate. The defense went to bed there. They went to sleep, and we costed a very It's insane. Elanga did have a chip. I mean, Elanga always has a chip on his shoulder when it comes to playing Manchester United. I feel like the whole of Newcastle themselves, they had something to play for. And like right now, they went from 13th to 12th, so they're climbing up again, and that's what they need, Shane. But like I was saying with United, we can't always win. And I was shooting a video earlier saying that there's going to be a lot of United supporters who are going to be turning their backs on Michael Carrick now that Michael Carrick has suffered this sort of defeat. That's just how people are. That's how fake they are nowadays. So you get some people that are just there when the team's on a smooth sail. So we have to be able to maintain that, to stick with him. I'm not saying that he has to be the permanent manager come the end of the season, but I'm just saying we have to back him now that we got rid of Ruben Amorim. Only makes sense. Michael Carrick is a ex-Newcastle player too, says Geordie F1 guy. Yes, that's true. I was actually hearing him speak about it in the press conference, so that's very interesting. I think he was born in Newcastle as well, so yeah, interesting. We couldn't do the double against Newcastle United, and then there was the whole red card as well with Jacob Ramsey for simulation. So very interesting game, very very ups and downs there. And obviously Bruno Fernandes, you know, how do you go from a hero to a villain? Because that should have never been a penalty from him. Very clumsy, especially knowing that the players in the box, Gordon finished it well. And we went on to conceding another one. So it wasn't meant to be, a Casemiro goal as well, another assist from Bruno Fernandes. Wow, he's just going crazy this season, you know. And obviously for him, as long as his stats are improving, he's happy that way. But I feel like deep down, he also wants to achieve something with his football club. So we'll see what happens. 14 assists this season for Bruno Fernandes, and I think 20 is the record. So can he do it? I don't know if it was set by Thierry Henry and Kevin De Bruyne. I think so. He's looking to get that. For Michael Carrick, it's 8 games, 1 draw, 1 loss, and that's 6 wins. So brilliant from Michael Carrick still, guys. We can't take anything away from him, regardless of this defeat. We still gotta keep our chins up here because it's only one defeat, only one defeat in all those games. So let's wait and see. We can't be knee jerk about it. You know, can't be knee jerk about the fact that he's been winning games. We can't be knee jerk about the fact that he's losing games as well. So we have to maintain waiting to see what happens. We got to be patient with Michael Carrick, and he's even going for manager of the month for February. He's going for runners up. He's going for nominees. So we could have Michael Carrick taking that manager of the month award, the Premier League one, obviously, and that'll be interesting. That'll be interesting as well because I feel like it's going to be his second, that is. And yeah, he's been having a good run for Manchester United, guys. If you thought that I've changed my sort of my feelings towards Michael Carrick taking on the permanent role come the end of the season, no, it hasn't changed. I would still have Michael Carrick being Manchester United manager come into the season, depending on how things go here. But still interesting. We're still third, guys. So that game against Aston Villa is going to be super interesting. Super interesting. Geordie F1 guy says, yeah, he was born about 20 minutes up the road from me and it wasn't simulation. Bro, he rolled on his foot if you look at it closely. Um, well, the game's over now, mate, and we lost at the end of the day. So, however you call it, simulation, not simulation, it is what it is. We can't take anything back from that. So, yeah, it's just how the refs have been this season as well. They're not shy of just giving off red cards, and it's typical of the Premier League. If you wanted to bring back any ex-United manager to be permanent, who would it be and why, says Geordie F1 guy. If you wanted to bring any ex-United manager, I would obviously say Sir Alex Ferguson. No doubt with that. But obviously, um, yeah, that wouldn't happen, especially now that he's retired. But to be honest with you, I would say I don't want to say Ruben Amorim. I don't want to say Eric Ten Hag as well. I don't want to say Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So I don't know. That's a very tricky one. It's a very, very tricky one. Very tricky one. I don't even want to say Mourinho. That's the thing. I don't even want to say Jose Mourinho. So I don't know. I like the idea of Louis van Gaal. So LVG. If I could bring back any ex-United manager, or you said ex, mate. Conte and Alonso aren't really ex Man United managers. But yes, that's very interesting. That's very interesting. So that's the thing with Man United, and it's the FA Cup fifth round coming up as well. Manchester United are not in it, of course. That's why we're having to wait about 10 days before we play football again. So it's the FA Cup fifth round. Manchester United won't be involved with that. So it's another weekend, guys. Another weekend of no Manchester United football, you know. And that's also one of the main reasons why I'm gutted, because it's the fact that we didn't win yesterday. And that was supposed to be a midweek game. So now we got the FA Cup weekend coming up. It's the fifth round, and Manchester United won't be involved with that. So yeah, I'm upset. It's not happening. We just have to wait another fortnight until we watch Manchester United. And if you just joined the channel, guys, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It's post-match chats about Manchester United's defeat to Newcastle United. And of course, we're not happy with it, because we could have extended some more points there in that third spot, and we didn't do it. And we have the same points as Aston Villa right now with 51 points. So we're stuck there. And you had the likes of Chelsea winning 4-1. You had the likes of Liverpool as well. So it was interesting. It was interesting to see how Manchester United could have responded, and we didn't respond. So we're there, same points as Aston Villa, and we're playing Aston Villa next. That's going to be interesting. For me, I'd say Conte or Alonso. Alonso would be interesting. I've got to go, bro. Hope you have a good day. Cheers, Geordie F1 guy. Good to chat to you, mate. If you just joined the channel, don't forget to hit that sub button, guys. So yes, Bruno Fernandes gave away the penalty as well. So we got to hold him accountable. He had a mixed game there, and yeah, we just have to move on from that. We have to move on from that. Let's be honest, we weren't ready. We weren't ready for Newcastle United, and they took advantage of that. When you see players like Malacia entering that pitch, that's when you know Manchester United are not ready. And we really aren't ready, because we don't have a squad worthy enough of competing. Next season, when we do make Champions League, we are going to suffer if we don't sign the right players. And you could see that. When we substituted players, the likes of Casemiro, and we had to bring in the likes of Manu Ugarte. You could just tell, the likes of Malacia, that this team doesn't have a solid foundation happening here. So we need to work on that. We need to fix on these sort of things. And that plays a big role in these sort of games. These games that happen in a short span of time. That's where the test comes up. And like I said, we were never ready. We were never ready for that. So very interesting. But yes, guys, that's me with another live show. And Manchester United obviously lost a game. They actually lost a game. So I wasn't used to that. I wasn't used to Manchester United losing, and it was a good run. But now I guess it's come to an end. And now it's just a little bit of a wake up call to Michael Carrick, Manchester United. And let's be honest, yeah, it was a disappointing game, very disappointing game against Newcastle United. So we could have done way better, and we just got to move forward with that. We have to try and better ourselves for the next game against Aston Villa. We were supposed to do that after the game against Crystal Palace, but we didn't change the gear, and we got caught. We got caught and dropped points. We dropped some major points, that is. So things happen. Let's see what else Michael Carrick has got. Let's see what other changes he's got as well. What tricks does he have up his sleeve? but I need to see more from him. And these are the sort of tests that are going to be getting him. This is the sort of pressure that he needs in order for us to actually see what sort of um, what character, what sort of manager he is, and we can just take that with us until the end of the season, of course. Yes, guys, thank you so much for joining out here tonight, and see you guys next time.